Hi, I'm Louis from One Direction, and this is our autobiography. At school, academically, I wasn't necessarily great. I didn't really put my mind to it. It was more like things that I enjoyed the social, obviously, but it was more things that I really enjoyed that kind of gave me the drive. But other than that, I could very easily be the class clown and just do what I want. I think I've always had persistence, which I suppose I've probably got from my mum. She always encouraged me to do what I wanted to do, and always just told me to give it my best. So that's what I tried to do. My mum's pretty ambitious, to be fair, so I think that kind of came through in the family, and I think I get a lot of qualities from her. My mum's pretty much the first person I go to for advice. I have a great relationship with mum. Obviously, being in One Direction means, we can travel the world, which I don't think, well, I know I wouldn't have even, been to America, never mind all the places that we've been at this age. So, yeah, it's amazing. I kind of, Doncaster is great, but I kind of wanted to see the world, and I'm lucky enough to have done that. And often when I bring friends from home, obviously I went to school with, it's pretty surreal. And the first time I brought my mate Ollie out, he couldn't believe that there was a thing called room service where someone brings you food to your door. He was over the moon. So, it's great. For me, the whole X Factor thing went so quick. It was an amazing experience, but it all just seems like a blur now. We definitely enjoyed it, but obviously it was so serious at that time as well. Even when we try our hardest to be sensible and mature, we don't do a very good job. So I think it kind of keeps us sane. We were all very young, and we had a life of no responsibility. I mean, I certainly didn't at school. I wasn't really working too hard, and I was just enjoying myself. And then all of a sudden, you get taken away, and like bang, you're in this lifestyle, and it is very alien. And touring specifically, moving on to country to different hotel. It's hard to get your head around at first, and I think for our families in particular, it was tough because, normally, I suppose a mum would know that their child might be going to university at 18 and they can prepare for that moment. But we were kind of just, we went for the X Factor. It was an opportunity, and then everything just, went from there. So I think it was hard for our families to get their head round. Probably more so than us. We were just in the whirlwind and just loving it. But touring is definitely the best part. So it is hard being away from your family and from your friends, but that's why it's great having the other boys there because you've got mates there. Recording our first album was such a surreal experience because obviously you have no idea what to expect, especially being a lad from Donny. You don't know. Not many people from Donny record many albums, but anyway. But that trip was it kind of had a lot of firsts for us because a lot of us hadn't been to different countries before. They'd never been abroad. I'd only ever been to France. So it was, a lot of new experiences, and it was amazing. It was a great time for us as a band then, definitely. Those early recording sessions were like a strange contrast for me because I went through the whole of the X Factor and didn't have a solo. And that was tough for me because from going to school and like I say, liking to be the center of attention, and that it was a big different kind of lifestyle change in a way. I don't mean that in an arrogant way. It was just completely different, which was hard to deal with. And there was often times, when I'd stand there and wonder how much the comments were relevant to me because my contribution to the band, in my opinion, at that time was so small. So, obviously I was delighted to be in the band. It was an amazing opportunity. But on the X Factor, I did have a little bit of struggle. And that's why, when it came around to recording the album, and it's only really been since probably Midnight Memories, that album, that I've felt comfortable with my voice. So it's just all been like a learning curve from there, really. But sometimes on stage, I might feel, or I have done in the past, I feel, especially this tour, I feel much more confident. It can be an intimidating thing, especially at the start when it was so alien to us. But it's kind of good to learn about that side of it and come out on the other end. I'm very, very happy now. You know, What Makes You Beautiful was obviously a great start for us, but even before that, there was so much work that had gone into social media, and our fans literally, you know, like little super fans trying to spread the word across the world, and it's pretty amazing. I hope that they realise just how much of a influence they've had, you know, from the start, because yeah, it all happened through them, through social media. I mean, it's hard to put into words, you know, the level of importance, because I just feel like you hear so many people say, you know, our fans are amazing, they're the best in the world. We seriously couldn't stress enough just how incredible our fans are, and you know, they only need to look at our stats, and that is all thanks to them. And you know, I hope that they give themselves a pat on the back, because it's a partnership between the two of us. We had our first UK tour in theatres, which was brilliant, because obviously straight off the back of the X Factor, we needed to learn, and it was a great platform for that. And you know, some of those intimate gigs are some of the best gigs that we've done. We really do have some great memories, but we needed that kind of progression, and we needed to learn as a band and to get to arenas, you know. So we love touring. There's nothing better to do as an artist than to, you know, take your music all over the world. So we're blessed to be able to do that. I think on the first tour, I remember quite clearly, we got the mattresses out of one of the hotel rooms and was trying to ride them down the stairs, and a couple of the boys were a bit tentative, worried that we might get told off. You won't get that now; they'd be straight down. Our expectations in America were very modest. I remember we had a discussion about where we'd like the album to chart, and we said top 40, top 20 would be amazing. Because you know, you look back at the past, and it is so hard to get into America. So we you know, we wouldn't have any other expectations really other than that. And we went to tour with Big Time Rush, and I remember we had a chat with our management, and they were like, you know, this isn't your show, so you need to be aware that they might not know the songs, and you might not get that great a reaction, blah blah blah. And like, you know, we were like nervous going into the show, like, wow, this is going to be different, whatever. And then that was one of the most amazing gigs, because we walked out and we performed. I think we did 6 songs, and even on the album tracks they were singing along, and it was just, we just completely weren't prepared for that, you know, because there's only so much Twitter can tell you, really, you know, and just experiencing that was, yeah, it was shocking in a good way. Coming off the X Factor, we thought, okay, we're going in for a career, but we only really would think about the UK, because you know, we thought it was like one step at a time kind of thing, and overseas didn't really come into my mind, even though we'd done some like press trips over there, and we actually did I think 4 countries in 4 days, which was manic. It was only really at the release of the album, and then, you know, seeing where it fared in different countries, that it was the real wake up call to go, you know, here it is, here's the proof, it is pretty big. 18 months after the X Factor, and there were, all of a sudden, there's thousands of people. We're in New York. I've never been to New York, and there's thousands of people like screaming. And I could give you some rubbish about me, you know, sitting there reflecting, thinking, but really, it's too hard to comprehend, and it's something that's, you know, all these crazy things that are happening. Of course, you appreciate them, but it's impossible, because how could you relate to that? Nobody can, you know. So it's almost easier just to enjoy it and just go with it, because the more you think about it, the more it's like, wow, this is insane. We were recording in LA, and we flew back to Heathrow, and there was just this mass amount of fans, and it was just crazy to see, because you know, we'd seen crowds, you know, outside where we were and stuff, but never to that kind of level. And it all got a bit aggressive. I think I got me hoodie ripped off from me. I remember they dragged us into this like tiny office with some like police officers, and we were like all inside, and all the fans are outside surrounding it, banging on the walls. Yeah, it was pretty intense. It definitely made us think, okay, you know, there's some proper support here, and yeah, we were very excited in the car home. The Olympics were in London, which was an amazing thing anyway, and to be involved with that was incredible. I don't think I've ever felt so much honour really just to be involved in such an amazing thing, you know. And I always think, you know, it must be amazing for a football fan to pull on an England shirt and represent his country. And it almost felt like a little bit like we were representing our country there at the Olympics. And yeah, it's that feeling in particular there is like no other really. Very, very proud moment. Obviously, I'm a massive football fan, and I've always idolised David Beckham. I just think he's the coolest guy ever. Two or three of the lads met him before me, and they had pictures with him, right? And I just saw these pictures on Twitter. I was like, what's going on, boys? Would love to have met David, you know, Bex. But anyway, I did get to meet him in the end. Went to the class of '92 premiere, and I'm rubbish. I was trying to be cool, but you just can't. I mean, what do you say to that's remotely impressive to David Beckham? You know, it's. But generally, with like celebrities, I don't as a band. I don't think we're that good. Like often at award ceremonies, we're kind of sat there and feeling like the new kids at school, like Rihanna might be sat in front of us, and we'll be like, "Oh, it's Rihanna there." You know, it's still very hard to believe for us. There was a few different things, like award ceremonies that I'd not really heard of, and I don't think Zayn had either. And obviously the VMAs was one of those. And I kind of had to sit down and ask Niall. I mean, funny that Niall had watched him, but anyway. Yeah, I sat down and asked him, you know, how big a deal it was, because I was completely not aware, because like I say, from Donny, you don't really watch VMAs for some reason, which sounds crazy now, because it's such a big award show, and it's great. On the second album, we became a little bit more involved in the writing. I wouldn't say it didn't phase us. You know, we were still aware of the expectations. You know, after how well the first album had done. I remember we did a week in Sweden, and we were starting to feel a little bit more involved in the creative process, which was cool. That was the first kind of involvement for us in terms of writing. So yeah, we kind of had a lot to live up to with the first record. But we kind of just knuckled down and just, you know, did what we thought we should, and luckily we were all right. I remember I clicked on, you can go on, if you search on Google and you go like iTunes chart, and it like shows you like 20 countries and what's number one in those countries. And like we were over like, I don't know, like most of them. And it was just insane just to see it there on iTunes. And I remember I just took a screenshot of it straight away and thought, I'll look at that later. Sitting down and like watching the film, that was again a very proud moment, 'cause it's one of those things that all our families came to, and you know, like in nice dresses and suits and that, and it was nice. It was crazy, because it was like we were walking down the red carpet, and you know, we'd done that before at award shows, and that's still cool, but knowing that everyone else is watching it and it's your film, it was crazy. And the premiere itself was on such a massive scale. That was a really, really great time. I sat with Niall in the back of the cinema just shouting and doing whatever, being annoying, throwing popcorn, but we could get away with it because it was our film. So overall, it was just such a great experience. It was tiring, you know, the cameras were around a lot, but it was a great experience and a great document for us to have as a band. You know, we can then show that to our grandkids in, you know, 50 years. We've always tried to stray away from all the stereotypes that goes with boy bands. And you know, one thing boy bands aren't known for is writing. And we thought it was really important that we could get our influence across on the music. So this was the first album, Midnight Memories, that we felt we had a proper creative input on, not just a little bit. We felt like we had a say over the whole thing. I think I personally wrote on 11 on out of the deluxe version, and personally for me that it's an amazing feeling. It's incredibly rewarding to be able to make music. You know, it's me and Liam kind of formed this little writing team between us, and we just had a great time, and we worked with some great producers, and just incredibly proud. And then obviously, you know, that album was received incredibly as well. On the big performances like Wembley, it's very daunting. Obviously, there's so many people there. You've got family there, and there's, you know, friends there, and that obviously adds to all the nerves. Um, but we're very lucky in the fact that we've got great fans. In that, I don't feel like if I messed up on stage, I would really feel that embarrassed because I feel like they're so behind you anyway. That it's cool, and they kind of put you at ease, which is a nice feeling. You know, that's why it almost encourages us to mess about and be a bit off the cuff on stage because they make it easy for us in that way. It goes back to that pride, that you know, to think about obviously me being a huge football fan and to think about all the history that's gone there and that it's England's national stadium and that we got to play there is just, it's unbelievable. I've tried so many times to sit back and try and understand it, and it's impossible. I just feel like I've blagged it. I just feel like I'm a Donny lad who's got lucky, and yeah, it's impossible to ever understand. Maybe when we're older and wiser, we might be able to put some kind of perspective on it, but it's cool.